Okay, so today is a slightly different video. This isn't a sponsored video, so to speak, but I have been given the Manfrotto CFexpress card reader from them, and they've asked me to, have it on the channel. And I get asked this by, quite a lot of people, and it's which is quite surprising because I'm a small channel, and it's quite a low budget channel, and a lot of the products people have kind of approached me with are just, they're either, I sort of don't deem them necessary, they're slightly pointless products, or there's better cheap alternatives on the market. So I just kind of think that I don't really want to put that on the channel, and I'm not being paid to do this. All they've done is sent me this and they've said I can keep it. So, but sort of full disclosure there that they have done that, and I will be keeping the card reader. So it doesn't sway my opinion of it at all, because I'm free to sort of do an open, honest review about it. So what I've decided to do, it is just a card reader. So there's not a great deal you can do with it, but I do already have a card reader. So if you've seen any of my other videos, you probably have seen that I'm using this card reader. It's quite basic. It's just it's an Amazon card reader, and it's called I think it's Alxum. To be honest, I can't even pronounce the name of it, but it's the kind of affordable card reader you see on Amazon, and you see it rebranded hundreds of times. But it's it's a decent reader. It does the job, and that's why I own it, because it's sort of good value. And part of what made me accept this is the fact that they sort of said, oh, we've got a Manfrotto card reader, and I thought, okay, this is going to cost nearly as much as a CFexpress card. It's going to be £80 to £100 or something. But this card reader actually costs the same as this one at the time of recording this. So this is about £35, say $40. Same with this one, £35, $40. So I just thought, okay, well, I'll take a look at that, because I like Manfrotto products. I've got Manfrotto monopod. I've got a couple of their kind of like fluid heads and different bits, and I just thought, I'll have a look, and I'll see, if there's anything that sort of makes this special over the kind of Amazon one, because they're the same price, and it seemed like a worthy comparison. So I thought, sure, we'll go ahead and we'll give it a try. So beyond the fact that you've got obviously one is a sort of like almost a no-name brand, and the other one is Manfrotto. You've kind of got that there already. So if you're a person that just you like to have brand things in your bag, then this one is probably already the winner for you. But what I'm going to do is go through a couple of things, just how they work, how quickly they transfer files, and come to a bit of a conclusion on which one is which one's right for you. I'm not going to say better, because they are both card readers, and they serve the same purpose. So essentially, both card readers, I'm not going to go into showing you the boxes and things, because it just doesn't matter, like all that side of it. So they're both CFexpress Type B card readers, essentially, and they both come with a USB-C to USB-C cable, and they both also come with, I haven't unpackaged this one because I haven't used it yet, but a USB Type A to Type C cable. I'm not sure if you can see that there. Type C. So essentially you could use it with newer laptops, older laptops, and for me it's great because I use an older MacBook Pro that I take out for client work if I'm away for a little while, so I can work on that, and it's a smaller one. And my bigger MacBook Pro is a slightly newer one, so that's a Type C USB. So both of these actually get used, or will get used, both of the cables for it. So for me that's great. I don't have to buy extra cables or anything like that. So you're all set up and ready to go. You've got everything you need. All you need is a Type B card to actually put in it, which most people obviously are going to have if you're buying a card reader. The card in this video that I'm using to sort of do the tests and bits like that, because the majority of my channel is about Panasonic GH6, I'm just going to use the card that came free with it, because a lot of people probably have this exact same card, so it's a familiar card, and like I say, a lot of people are probably using it. So it's quite a nice fast card. Obviously it's capable of recording some incredibly sort of high data rates on the GH6. So yeah, we're going to use that one and do a couple of tests and bits, but sort of before that we were just going to have a look at the actual readers themselves. So this one it is really basic. It's just USB-C port in and the the card slot on that side, and it's a fairly basic setup for Type B cards. So they for this one it just goes in, label up, and then click it in, click it back out, and that always tends to be the way a CFexpress Type B card kind of goes into a reader anyway. So it's the same with the Manfrotto, but yeah, that's essentially all you've got in there. When it's plugged in, you get green light, so you know it's working. So that's there too, and that's your lot. And then with the Manfrotto, fairly similar. We've got USB-C port on the back to power it. On the front, we've got our card reader, so we can put our card in. Again, label up, click it in, click it out. You can obviously see the difference between the two. The nice thing about this Manfrotto one is this cover, so we can put it on, cover it over. Whereas this one just has an exposed port, which is not ideal for me. Neither of these are weather sealed, so it's not like it's plugged into a laptop, so it doesn't need to be weather sealed. But it's essentially just a nice, for me, that's a nice little way to keep dust and keep dirt out of it. I've got all kinds of things in my camera bag, little connectors and sometimes coins and little discs and things that would actually fall inside of this, and a card reader I quite often will just throw in a bag. So to actually be able to cover the top of it is quite nice. It keeps dirt and dust out of the contacts, and it also keeps any foreign objects out of there that I don't want sliding into a card reader. So that for me actually is a nice little benefit. So that's a good point to it. The next one, this is a really a nothing point, but the bottom of this one, it doesn't have any feet to it, so it's quite sort of scratchy and noisy, and I don't always like that on my desk, whereas this one's just got some nice rubber feet. So you place it down, it doesn't really go anywhere, whereas this one just kind of scratches around and gets dragged around. So again, a simple one. You could put some sticky dots on the bottom of this and it would do the same thing, but it's yeah, that's just quite a nice little thing. So it sits in place and it's quite sort of neat and tidy. And the final thing to add to that, I would probably just say that the although this looks sort of rubberized, the body on this, it's not. It's kind of like a plasticky type feel. It's not it's not sort of how it appears, I think, on camera. It sort of looks like it's like a big thick kind of rubber body to it, but it does feel quite rugged, and with the lid, like I say, I think for me, of the two, it's kind of the probably the more practical design. This one probably looks smarter, but in practical terms, this one is better, really, I think. So for me, this one sort of takes it there in terms of the actual overall design. So the Alxum reader is shorter and it's also lighter as well, about 30% lighter. So the Manfrotto weighed in about 76 grams, whereas the Alxum was about 52 grams. So, if every gram counts in your camera bag, then this may be the card reader for you over the Manfrotto. Both of these card readers are compatible with Windows and Mac, and they offer 10 gigabits per second transfer speed. So that roughly equates to about I think it's 1.2 gig per second. So and that's using the USB-C cable included. The final speed of that is going to depend on what you plug it into and what sort of destination it's going to, what type of drive. Okay, so I'm just going to take the Lexar card and put it into the Manfrotto reader so we can do our first speed test on this. So the card has just got some footage that I've previously shot. It's just short of 70 gigs worth of footage, so we're just going to take the whole lot and put it onto the SSD on my MacBook Pro. So we're not going off to any external drives. We're not going off to anywhere other than that. So it should be as quick as possible because it's going straight from the drive, which is USB-C to USB-C, straight over to the internal drive on the MacBook, which is a pretty quick SSD. And you can see, those files are transferring over pretty fast. So it's looking good at the moment. The sort of spec that they've held it to is looking to be correct to me at the moment. And the way I'm sort of timing these, I've just dropped the files in, and at the time of dropping them in, I've just started a stopwatch. So by no means are these absolute scientific tests of transfer speed. They're just, I'm using the same files, they're going onto the same drive. It's just I'm trying to control the test as much as I can. And sure, there'll probably be a split second or something where I'm not pressing the stopwatch correctly, but it's in my opinion, these tests can as long as it's transferring the files over in a fairly quick time, then to me it's not a huge factor. I'm sure other people have done much more in-depth file transfer tests than this, but for me this is more than suitable. It kind of gives me an idea of which one's faster and roughly how long it's going to take to move over a project. This is sort of usually a typical project ish for me, sort of maybe a half-day shoot to about a day. So that's transferred over from the Manfrotto reader in 1 minute and a half. So that's 70 gigs worth of data, almost 69.7 in just over a minute and a half. So now we're going to do the same with the Alxum reader. Just so same card, it's got all the same files, just into a new folder again. We're going to just do exactly the same thing essentially. So I'll knock the stopwatch on at the same time, and we'll just see how this compares to the Manfrotto reader. I'm expecting them to not be miles off each other because they both sort of lay the same claim to transfer speeds, and they can't be too creative with those. They have to be fairly accurate, or it's obviously false advertising. So by the looks of it, it is going at roughly the same speed. This is maybe slightly slower. I mean, only a hair slower. So it's not going to be far off the Manfrotto, if not the same time at this rate anyway. What I've done on this card, because it's from a shoot, so it's got raw files on it, raw photos, JPEGs, and it's got quite a lot of MP4 files on there as well. So and I think there's a few ProRes files on there too. So there's some really big chunky files on there, and there's also lots of little files on there. So lots of little JPEG files and things like that. So it's a really good mix of files to kind of test the kind of speed of it, transferring these all over. And yeah, like I said, I think we're looking pretty much on target to be thereabouts with the Manfrotto reader. It's not too far off going through. It seems like it slowed down a bit, but I don't think it's significant. So we're just coming up close now to where the Manfrotto was. I think this is probably just going to go sort of maybe a few seconds over. So it is there now, and yeah, we're 1 minute 34. So this reader's been 4 seconds slower, and like I say, maybe give or take a second for where I've sort of stopped. So they're almost pretty much equal in terms of speed, or very close anyway. So my main reservation of this card reader in the past has just really been how hot it gets sometimes during file transfer. I won't say a bad word about it because I've never had any issues with data loss, but in the past, I mean using this reader, but in the past I have lost data from cards, and due to sort of excessive heat, and it is something that concerns me. So the Manfrotto seems to keep them slightly more cool. I mean, we're not talking massively, but it does seem to keep the heat down slightly. It's got heat sinks as part of the design, so it does seem to do a slightly better job with cooling and keeping the card getting a bit less hot. So for me, that is quite a big thing between the two of them. So I take that into quite high consideration. But between the two readers, I wouldn't say there's a great deal in them, but they're both quite quick. They're both neat and nice to sort of transport and hold. It really is just down to I suppose size and weight and whether this cover is worth the extra to you. Okay, to kind of wrap this up, I think what I'd probably say is firstly, well done to Manfrotto for creating a product that is not only a nice quality product, but it really sits in such a accessible price range. It's like it's sat there with some of the more kind of budget card readers, and it's a nice quality reader. So I think they've done a really nice job there with the price placement. It's very appealing, and it's a difficult one for me because obviously this has come to me when I've already got a card reader. So would I buy it already having the card reader I had? Probably not, because there's not enough to differentiate this in the fact that it is a card reader, and there's only so much you can do to to sort of make it different. But if I were coming at it fresh, and I think I would probably look at it a bit differently and sort of see the features that this had, and kind of I'd certainly be considering it at the same price with like all the little additional bits like the the cover, the heat sinks, the sort of design of it. I think I'd be I'd probably be much more inclined to at least have this in my short list of ones that I would get. And like I say, Manfrotto sort of letting me have this one. I've kind of been just they're letting me keep it after the review. So for me, that's it will get used, because this can go in my camera bag, and the one I've already got can just kind of sit on my desk with my MacBook. I mean, this one's the more sort of rugged one and better to travel with. So yeah, I'm going to continue to use this one. I'll still use the other card reader as well. I'll keep the comments updated, if I have any problems with any of these, or anything goes wrong. And I think that's sort of the last test, really, isn't it? Like the longevity of the card readers. So I'll keep that updated. But yeah, the Manfrotto also starting to do cards as well, so CFexpress Type B cards. So I'm hoping to kind of get my hands on some of those and see how they fare up against some of the CFexpress cards that I've got. So if you want to kind of see more about these types of products, then make sure to subscribe, and I'll leave links in the descriptions to both this reader and the other reader that I was using, and you can sort of check them out and see what's right for you, really, because like I say, what's right for one person isn't right for another in terms of products. So just make sure to kind of do your research and make sure you're buying what sort of works for the work that you're doing. But if you found this video useful, then please like the video. If you want to see more of this type of content, then please subscribe.